It was fantastic as well, leading into the Super Regionals. As we speak now, the Super Regionals are in the book. Mike Martin and Florida State get the win off to Omaha. Cole Henry out after 2 innings of work. Looks like the dry needling helped him out there. Derbs, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Got a little GNR coming in. That was
Yes,
good.
indeed.
Late 80s push on MTV. You know, I got to see that stuff as a kid. Got me pumped up.
Got Moscona's producer in here, Michael Moscona, pushing the buttons for us
Yep.
this morning.
Shout out T-Boy.
All right, you read the story on Cole Henry. I don't know if you've read it, though, but Cole Henry comes out after 2 innings of work last weekend. They gave him some dry needling. It looks like the nerves calmed down, and he goes out there and he throws fine. When you hear arm issues like this going into an offseason for a pitcher, what's your first reaction?
Well, first and foremost, the MRI comes back clean, which is always, it's not. My MRI came back clean before I had Tommy John surgery, so it's not, the 100% clear. But when a kid walks off the mound and says he can't feel his fingers or he can't feel his arm or whatever, it doesn't matter if it's 1997 or 2019, he's not running back out there.
Mm-hmm.
That just is what it is. And as long as it's not structural and it is something in the nerves or whatever it is, and especially if it's not the ulnar nerve, those are all good signs, especially for the next 2 years with him and going forward. So, for Pulmonary and his staff, it's comprehensive. Every kid is different. I played with, obviously played a long time, played with a ton of guys, and I was a guy who could throw and throw and throw and throw more, and that's kind of how I stayed healthy. There were guys that I had as throwing partners that I had to dump as a throwing partner because they couldn't throw with me. They had to throw less, and that was how they figured themselves out. Now, we're talking grown men making a lot of money, figuring out that they can't throw more or they'll break down because they need to be available. Like you said, that's more important than anything else. So every guy that comes in, and AD may be a guy that wants them to throw more, and that's not going to work for every kid. Or he wants some to throw less, and that's not going to work. So, it is a moving target. It is not easy, especially when it comes to us and the media kind of evaluating them as a whole. You're kind of lumping everybody into one group, and it's just different for every kid. So it's not an easy job. The training staff's going to here's the deal with training staff, and T-Bob, you probably dealt with this. If you go in and tell the training staff that I don't feel right, it's going straight up the chain, and they've got to protect their job.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to go over the top and do whatever they need to do with you. So the kids learn that they either got to say something, and then maybe they're unavailable, or they don't say something, and then they're scrutinized for not saying it. So there's a very fine line there. Kids are 19 years old, trying to figure out what to say, what to do, how to stay healthy, how to show that they're tough and go out there. So I really feel like it is individual, it's comprehensive, and it's a very moving target.
If you were a part of the LSU staff and you witnessed and saw what happened to the pitching, the pitching position this year at LSU baseball, what would your plan of action be this summer?
I mean, it's individual again. It is sitting down with each guy, going through their 17, 18-year-old seasons, what they did during high school ball, what they did during select ball, what their off seasons look like, what other sports they played, how much time they took off, how much time they didn't take off, and then it comes down to everybody's different. So it really is. It may take a whole lot more time and effort, and maybe there are some can outsource some of this, but it is Cole Henry is a first rounder. We all saw that.
Ooh.
He's got plus stuff. So does Jaden Hill. Marceau falls into the back end of that range. Those guys are studs. So, protecting them also protects your recruiting and knowing what to do with them and showcasing that, hey, we handle these arms very well. Vanderbilt handles their arms extremely well. I guess that's the history of it, or they outmarket everybody because they, you don't hear about the arms that don't make it. But that's something that the staff, it's not like they're not doing it. And it's not like they're not behind the scenes chewing kids' butts out for not being tough. Like that still exists. You just can't do it the same way you did it 20 years ago because there's a camera phone, in everybody's pocket. And, that all that stuff exists. So I appreciate what they're trying to do. I know it's tough. Kids are different. They've thrown more. They can throw harder. All that stuff kind of goes into the same pocket, and you've got to make what you can for each individual, and you might miss. And you might say, we tried this, because it's worked in the past with Aaron Nola or Alex Lang or Kevin Gossman, and that's not what worked for Cole Henry. That's not what worked for Jaden Hill. And then you'll have another test group with these guys when the next group comes in. So I appreciate what they do. They're going to get scrutinized, and they should. It is what it is. When I was big league staffs, when your guys go down, the second tier of arms come in, and you're not going to be able to go out there and execute.
Yeah, my big takeaway in all of this is just that throwing a ball is terrible for you. It is like absolutely terrible for your body. I hope they can figure it out. Chad, I want to ask you about kind of expectations, and you're someone, you've been in franchises that have championship expectations and have been in tough media markets. When you look at Coach Maneri, now missing Omaha 2 years in a row, even with a strong finish this year coming up just short of that goal, if he makes Omaha, then it's all good, right? Then like the season was a success. Because you don't, the majority of people now saying that this season was a disappointment and even putting him on the hot seat going into next year. Like, is that a fair representation, or is that a fair standard to hold Coach Maneri to?
It is fair. That's part of this job. You come in here to LSU and you take this job and you sign your name on that paper, on that contract. This is part of coaching at this level. You don't get scrutinized like this elsewhere. I mean, there's some other programs, but there's a handful out there where when they start their season, whether they're number 1 or number 20, their expectation is we make Omaha and we got to win one, twice a decade or something. That's the expectation. And unfortunately for anybody that comes in here, that's going to be the expectation. So, I know the Yankees have that expectation. Now the Cubs do, the Red Sox, the Astros. 10 years ago, were we thinking the Astros should win one every 2 years? No. So the expectations end up being the reality, and that's what you sign. He's getting paid a lot of money to take this shrapnel, and he knows how to take it. He's actually really good at it. He might irk some people, he might not irk some other people, but he does a good job. Everybody runs out of time, and it might be 10 years before he's gone. It might be next year. You never know. But whoever takes the job, it's not like you just sign somebody else signs their name on that piece of paper and it just goes away. The same scrutiny is going to be there. The same media, the same fan base, like they're all coming at you when you don't meet expectations. You are number 1 preseason, and nobody can control injuries. But there are tons of ways. He can't run bases for kids. He can't go out there and throw it for them. So you recruit extremely well, and we can all agree that they bring in talent. In the winning and the losing, it might come down to a couple coaching, decisions. But at the end of the day, kids are ripping through baseballs on the mound, and guys are swinging at good pitches or bad pitches, and that is what it is.
Chad Durbin joining us here, ESPN New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Alexandria. I got 90 seconds. Antoine Duplantis is coming up at 8:30 this morning. Tell me what you think he can accomplish at the next level.
Well, first of all, hat tip to the entire Duplantis family for being at LSU these last couple of years.
Yeah.
What an amazing family and their accomplishments. Amazing to have him here. But as far as his ability, I think that I'm curious about him playing center field. That's where I think he needs to play at that next level. There are better guys here. While he was here, he can hit velocity. That goes a long way. He has speed. You can't teach that. His ability to handle the barrel of the bat, wood will be interesting. I'm sure he's going to do fine on that side of it, but it's going to come down to, is he an elite defender? Because once you move to right field and left field, you're not at premium positions. As far as his ability to throw the ball from right field or hit the ball out of the park at the pro level. So all those things are going to kind of come into effect, and his ability to get to the big leagues. I think he can play at that level, but it's so hard to tell because there's 7 different levels to get to the big leagues through the minor leagues, and if he can't play center field, you kind of get shuffled to the back of the pack. And I think he's got the mental approach and the emotional approach. He's a leader, but he plays the game the right way. I think all those things play at the pro level.